Welcome to Bearbackers. I'm glad to be here again. Happy Halloween to everyone. Yep. As you can tell, we had a Halloween costume contest at our office this morning. You can see the results of that. I'll let Brad get into who won. He'll embellish it a little bit, I'm sure. Yeah. We had anything from Forrest Gump to Ted Lasso to Mr. Security Guard right here, who will take care of any hecklers we have. We had the vacationers over here. We had Wendy's drive-through guy. We had, oh gosh, I'm probably leaving somebody out, I'm sure.
Now you have the scary teddy bear.
You weren't in the office this morning. That's why I did mention it.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I told you what was going to happen.
You told me you were wearing a mask. Didn't tell me what kind of mask, but.
That was the surprise.
It was when I saw you come off that elevator, believe me. So this week, tonight we have the Nathan Brown Coaches Show at Walk-On, 7 o'clock. It's also on the Buzz 2, which is 106.7. Our women's golf's playing down in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Tomorrow night, men's basketball hosts an exhibition game with Champion Baptist, 7 p.m. at the Fair Center. It is open to the public. It is free. So we hope to see all of you out there. Get your first glimpse of our men's basketball team. Men and women's basketball both start officially next Monday, a week from today. So basketball season is upon us. Friday, volleyball hosts Queens University. It's an ASUN newcomer. It'll be their first trip here. 6 p.m. Friday night at the Print Center. Our women's tennis team's playing in Tulsa this weekend. Saturday, we host round 1 of the ASUN Men's Soccer Championship. As of right now, it's 5 p.m. at the Bill Stevens Complex. Weather issues, we may try to move that up a little bit. That's the number 3 seed and the number 6 seed playing each other. We don't know who that is yet because we finished our regular season Saturday. Everyone else finishes tomorrow night. So we don't know who the 3 and who the 6 are going to be yet, but they will have to come to Conway to play. We get the winner of that Monday night at 6 o'clock at the Bill Stevens Complex in the semifinals because we're a number 2 seed. So can't wait till that. We don't know who we're playing yet. Don't even know who's coming to town, but we know we are playing at home on Monday night. Volleyball continues its homestand at 11 a.m. Sunday versus Liberty. So we got a full week, a lot of events at home. And of course, Saturday football is at EKU, which is not an easy trip to get to Eastern Kentucky. Richmond, Kentucky, it's a long way from here. But we're carrying a little momentum with us on that long trip, so that helps. We're going to start today with our cross-country teams. They competed Saturday morning in the ASUN Championships in Huntsville, Alabama. Our men's team finished 6th out of 14 squads. Julian Hassner finished 7th overall, broke his own school record that he set 2 weeks ago. I think if he kept running, he'd keep breaking records. He ran a 23:59.2. That earned him first team All-ASUN Conference honors. His twin brother Philip was 17th, earned third team All-ASUN honors. On the women's side, UCA finished 10th out of 14 teams. UCA's top runner was Sarah Steimel, 31st place out of 115 runners. And now as he gets ready to shift over to indoor track, let's hear from head coach Josey Weaver.
Well, I guess I can start with promising you that Julian won't break the school record in 2 weeks in the 8K because we're not running an 8K. All right, so he's got a chance to go after the 10K school record at the regional championship. But as Steve said, had a good day. Knew that it was going to be a tough challenge. There's some good teams in this conference. With getting here and honestly still learning the team. I've watched them now for about a half a semester. And it's something that's encouraging for me. A couple things that I'll tell you about the race. Philip and Julian, number 1 and number 2 all-time performances again, back-to-back meets. That's really hard to do. I told you his time per mile average last time. Well, this time he ran 5 miles, averaging 4:45 per mile. So he's got a really special season going for him right now. I thought our front guys ran really well. Jared Tewart, I could throw him in that mix too. They score 5 in cross country, and the backside I wish would have been a little bit higher than we were. But luckily we have some of those guys coming back. On the women, I would say that we looked young and we raced pretty young. The good news with that is I've got most of them back for the next 2 years and got to see a lot of things. The one thing I will tell you on the women's side, going into a mile to go, the way the course is set up, that's the last time I could really see them. And we have live results on our phone, and looked at our women, our top 5 that were racing at the time, and just let them know where we were standing. We were actually in 11th with a mile to go. And it's easy in a race when you're not winning to just kick the tent post in and cruise into the finish. But watching the girls really take off and catch 2 teams the last mile of the race and jump to 9th was pretty special. Up next for us, we go to the South Central Region Championships. It's down at Texas A&M in College Station. So we're looking to put two strong performances there. Julian definitely has a chance to be a national qualifier. The way that works, the top 2 teams get a national bid, and then the next 5 individuals, he'll have his work cut out for him. He's got to outrace some Razorbacks, and he's got to outrace some Longhorns, and quite a few people that also have some good guys. But we're hoping he can set the bar high for us when we go down to College Station in 2 weeks. Any questions? Run fast, run straight, run far, right? Go Bears.
I think we need to get Forrest Gump back there to see if he can run those kind of times. We're going to get out there about 2 o'clock today and see what he can do. I'm sure he can knock out times similar to that. Our volleyball Sugar Bears added 2 more victories last week over the same team as we talked about last week. We went to Florence, Alabama, swept North Alabama 3-0 on Wednesday night. Then we made it a little more interesting yesterday at the Prince Center, going 5 sets to win 3-2. Even more interesting, we lost the first 2 sets, so then swept the last 3. It's kind of like going down 3 touchdowns in the first quarter in football or 3-0 in soccer at the half. You get your work cut out for you when you go down 2 sets in volleyball. That second win, as hard fought as it was, it did put us in the ASUN tournament. Now we're just playing for seeding, so congratulations to volleyball. We are guaranteed a spot in the tournament. We don't know where, or don't know what spot. It starts Monday, November 17th. The tournament is at Lipscomb over in Nashville. We have 4 matches remaining, 3 at home and 1 on the road at Kennesaw. And I mentioned the 2 this weekend, Friday and Sunday. Let's hear from Coach John Newberry and his buddy.
I'll leave my son there. Good week against North Alabama, right? Yes. Good week. Great week. We pulled up to North Alabama on Tuesday night for practice and saw some of their special teams out there. So they were out there practicing and stuff. One of them kicked it by the fence, so I had a little chat with the punter. And I was like, good luck, it's gonna be a little bit rainy. Hope y'all are prepared. And but I knew we were gonna be prepared here, being on the stripes. It was fun. Congratulations to women's soccer as well. Great run in the tournament as well. Semifinals in the tournament. We want to do at least what you guys have done. That's our goal too. And then of course men's soccer with the 2 seed. It's incredible. So we're really excited about what's going on around here. For us, our goal this season was to get into the conference tournament, and we met that goal. If you may recall, we were picked preseason number 10 out of our few that are in the conference, and for us to be tied for second place right now is just it's unreal to us. We went out. We have a legit chance to be. We have a legit chance to not be the number 1 seed, but at least share a title for the conference. So it's a tall order. It's doable, but we got to remain hungry that we have been this whole entire season. But our Wednesday game versus North Al, really balanced offense on our part. We didn't come out extreme, like just real strong, but we finished well, which I was proud about. We got more aggressive from the service line. And we didn't know what kind of adjustments that they were going to make. They didn't really make a whole lot, but they did have a better game plan against us because they were a little bit more random. They created more errors in our last match, and so nothing we can do about that. That's kind of on them. This time, this was on us. So we had, in 5 sets, we had 62 kills, which is a lot in 5 sets. And then we also had over 30 errors just from attacking alone. That's really high. But it worked out in our favor. So big notable person, I mentioned her name several times over and over, but Mackenzie Vernon, I always tell everybody she hits like a dude. She's got a massive arm. She doesn't, you have to be in the way of her in order to pass her ball. You have to be in the way. If that ball is to the right or left of you, you're not touching it. And that's exactly what she did yesterday. She ended up with 22 or 23 kills in those 5 sets, and she was a force that she was going to be her only enemy, because the enemy was the other team wearing also purple was not the ones that she was worried about. But it's the first time that we've had rain here in our area with the game. And in the Print Center, if you've ever been in there, if it's dry, it's dry. And if it's wet outside, it's even more wet inside. That place just sucks some humidity in there. So it didn't matter if there was a person on the floor. If you look at the floor was going to be wet. So 2.5 hour match, 30 minutes of that was wiping the floor. But yeah, it was. So a little bit annoying, but it's part of it. It's part of the game. So just wanted them to sweat more than we were sweating. So that means that they were more tired than us, and I feel like we had that goal accomplished. So looking forward to this weekend. We've got Queens, newcomer, never seen them before. We've seen the film a little bit, and then on Sunday, 11 a.m. Maybe we get a bigger crowd at 11 p.m. I don't know. But 11 a.m. on Sunday, once again, please ask your pastors, ministers, anybody else to cancel services or postpone it or something. We need a crowd. They're number one. They're standing in our way. They're standing in our way, and we want to knock them down. And we want to move up. So we need a crowd. So I'm asking you guys to please help come show up, show out, because it's a big game for us. We got to handle business on Friday. I'm confident that we will, but Sunday's a really big game. So normally we would like to be able to move it a little bit later to get a crowd there, but Liberty, their head coach, had asked if they could please move it up so they can catch a flight to get back home for their classes the next day. So hopefully with us being nice, so we can get some good vibes and take care of business, it'd be great. So anyways, that's all I got. Any questions or anything? No, we're good. All right, thank you guys.
He wasn't lying about the wiping the floor yesterday.
Yeah, that was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. And if it's 11 p.m. game, you're going to have to find a new PA announcer, because I'm not going to be there. Sorry about that. Our women's soccer team had an awesome run in the ASUN tournament this past week down in Fort Myers, Florida. We tied number 3 Lipscomb 1-1 in regulation on the first round on Thursday, played 2 scoreless overtimes, and then beat them 5-4 on penalty kicks. There's nothing more nerve-wracking than a shootout in soccer. It's crazy. That will go down as one of the best soccer matches in UCA history, I feel certain. We'll let Coach Bishop tell us a little bit more about that here in a minute, about what goes into a shootout, the mentality, the stress, etc. I'm sure there's plenty of it. Yesterday we battled the host team, number 2, Florida Gulf Coast, in the double overtime again. Fell 3-2 in the semifinals. Great year with a great finish down the stretch. Hats off to the Bears for that. And now for one final time this season, Coach Jeremy Bishop.
Might be a little extra nervous today with Ted Lasso here in the crowd. Coach Beard, 2 of them. That makes it tough. 2 of them. We were coming home on an airplane yesterday, and I was sitting next to this lady. She was super sweet. We were talking on the way back, and she was talking about how coaching must be a really lonely profession. Her son, I guess, had been a coach, and so she was talking about that, and so I'm just thinking, and I think I'm pretty blessed to not feel that, and I think part of that is the Bearbackers, fans that we have, the administration that we have, the other coaches that we have, and then personally, at home, Beth and kids, always supportive. My parents are actually here today, always been here supporting. And so I felt bad for that coach to not have what we have here and what I've been able to have personally. So side note there for you. So yeah, wrapping up the season. It was a good season that turned into a great season at the end. I guess the saying is, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Probably not true in all cases, but it was definitely true this season. We had a young team and a couple of early games that we lost by one, a couple of ties that, just not quite getting over the hump, but just kept battling. The girls just kept fighting. Finished down the stretch. I think it was 3-1-1 the last 5 matches that got us in a good spot to get into the tournament. And so, congratulations. We get to play the defending conference champions in the first round in Florida. There was a lot of challenges that went into that. Standing up here last Monday, we didn't know how we were going to get there, when we were going to get there, where we were going to stay. But we made it down on Tuesday. There was a lot of talk out of Nashville that the best thing would be for us just to come over to Nashville and play that game. But our administration said, no, this is what we need to do to give our team the best experience for the tournament and give our team the best chance to win. And so we pulled it all together and got down there. It was a great experience for our group to be able to be in that environment. We were able to talk about all week long about how much that their administration believed in them by not just taking the easy way out and saying, let's go down. Coaches not just saying, yeah, that would be easier, let's just go. So they fed off of that. That gave them a lot of feeling of support from home. And then the all-conference teams came out on Tuesday, and we were on the bus when they got posted onto social media. And the conversations were, we don't have anybody in the top 12 at this position or that position or that position. And so that motivated them as well. And so we were able to just talk about that all week. And then we get to Fort Myers and practice on Wednesday. And, after that session was over, we talked about we're not down here to just participate. We're down here to compete. We're going to come down here and we're going to show them that we should have had some people on that. We should have been able to be represented there. But, as a coach, you understand that, those top 3 seeds are going to take up a lot of the spots. But it was great to see them get motivated. They weren't just happy to go down there and participate in the conference tournament. They were going down there to compete and do well. So we got Lipscomb, first game, the quarterfinals. And it was Florida hot down there, and we played 110 minutes of soccer. Several girls, we were able to track this with the equipment, the technology that we have. Several girls covered more than 10 miles in that amount of time. Almost all of them were averaging more than 9. So it was unbelievable, the amount of effort and work that they put into that match. And girls came out flying. First 5 minutes we scored. Taylor Lassiter hit a laser from outside the box, and it was just electric. The bench was nuts. It was a lot of fun. We were able to hang on for a little while. They ended up tying it before the half, and then for the next, 70 minutes or so, no scores. Few chances for us, lots of chances for them, but the defense stood up and kept them out. A lot of their chances were from distance. We felt good about how we defended. So then into the shootout. I guess everybody's pretty familiar with how that works, but basically it's the most nerve-wracking thing you've ever done in your life, times 10. And so you shoot your first 5. Both teams are going to have 5 chances right off. And then if there's a winner at the end of that, then it's over. But if it's not, then you just start going one-on-one. We make, they make, then it keeps going. Or we both miss, then it keeps going. But as soon as one makes and one misses, it's over. And so through the 5v5, it was 4-4. We saved one, they saved one. And then now it's one-on-one. And we miss, and then Kayla saves. And then we miss again. Kayla saves. And then we miss again. Kayla saves. And so now we've just got one to make and we win. And Nina, freshman, buried it. And so the dog pile is like the epic moment in sports, right? A lot of times you get that at the end of a overtime game whenever we had golden goal, but we don't have that anymore. So to be able to have that, to be able to see the team, flood the field on top of Kayla, I've never seen 4 saves in a penalty kick shootout in my life. It was unbelievable. So a little bit of magic down there, but it was awesome for the team. People that really stood out through it, through that match and then into the semifinals, Gibby was everywhere all the time. Kelly, of course, talked about Taylor's goal. Taylor Webb in the back was big. She actually took our first penalty kick, set the tone, was really nice. But I almost didn't want to talk about names because it was a complete team effort in that one. So our reward, we got to play the number 2 seed on their field yesterday in the semifinals. And the girls just went out and competed again. We got down twice in that game and tied it back up twice. Goals by Anna Kerr and Tristan Pavat. Probably many of you know the Pavats, Conway girl. She scored 83rd minute, I think it was, something like that. Getting close to the end of regulation to tie it back up, push it into overtime. And then they just got one late in the second overtime. We had a few chances to tie it up before the end of the second overtime, but couldn't quite do it. So the run ended yesterday in the semifinals. But like I said, it's not necessarily how you start, it's how you finish. And I was really proud of the way the girls not only fought in these 2 matches, but just throughout the season to be able to just keep trying to get better. We always talk about consistency, never too high, never too low. And that's what they did. They just keep putting their head down and kept putting the work in, and were able to have a fun end of the season. So we're going to miss those seniors that are moving on, but we're looking forward to the next year with the young group that we had this year. So, can I answer any questions? Go Bears!
Media last night. The opening round of the Mountain West tournament had a 22-round shootout. 22. Somebody posted asking if it was an NCAA record, and they were checking with NCAA. Can you imagine? 22 rounds of a shootout. 1, how long it would take, first of all. And 2, the stress involved in that. I cannot imagine. Our men's soccer team had a couple of ties last week, 1 non-conference, 1 in ASUN play. We tied Kansas City, formerly UMKC, 1-1 on Tuesday, and tied Jacksonville 2-2 in a monsoon on Saturday out here at the Bill Stevens Complex. I'm sure Frank was very jealous. Women's soccer is playing in the sun in Florida. Men's soccer is playing in a monsoon at home. They did the senior day inside the soccer house instead of on the field, if you can imagine. Been here a long time, never done that before. Can't imagine. As I said, we now head into the ASUN tournament this weekend at home. As we said last week, we earned the number 2 seed behind number 1 Lipscomb. The top 2 teams host the 2 first rounds. Number 3 and 6 will be here. We decided tomorrow. Could play one of, I think, 3 different teams: Florida Gulf Coast, Stetson, North Florida. I think those are the 3 in the running to come here. We'll find that out tomorrow night. Now let's hear from Coach Frank Kohlenstein.
Well, for sure, we definitely have a controversy in the athletic program right now, brought on by this Halloween fiasco. And these are the questions that they need to answer. If I am Crank Kohlenstein, what do I mean, and what does that mean for the soccer team? Number 2, right? If you tell a player to be a goldfish, what does that mean? And number 3, we need to offer Ted a cup of tea and see what happens. Now, will I decide any of these things? No. Because there's only one person in here that can make this decision, and that would be Dr. Davis. Because if I made the decision, then I would have to face Tarred Beak or Sadly Knock. A force I would not want to meet in any way, shape, or form. One provides my paycheck. The other, let's just say she could make my life difficult. Now, the soccer program, the men's soccer program, will delve into issues that are less threatening. Next Monday, we play a team, as we heard We don't know who it is. We just know when it is, and we're happy that we get to play, that we're a second seed. And it's the 6th year in a row that the men's soccer team has been in a semifinal. That's pretty cool for the program. And I was rewatching the monsoon for the 3rd time yesterday, and I saw they had a blip up there that we hadn't lost in 30 days. So that's kind of cool that you've been able to do that. But I can tell you that after a number of the ties, I was definitely crank. So hopefully the guys had off yesterday, they have off today. Hopefully crank can turn back into frank, although there's a number of the guys that wish he would turn into Ted. And I'll do my best to work on that. It's been, a really great season for all we've had to deal with. But John, I have absolutely no sympathy for you being inside and being Dr. Davis and Dr. Teague can attest that, it wasn't cats and dogs. It was bears and hippos coming down. And one of our goals was actually stopped because there was a huge catfish swimming across the front of the goal. So sympathy is not something that you're going to get from us. And I just want to also say, Jeremy, it was, magnificent what you did with your team. And then I was talking to Coach Brown, and I said, wow, your kickoff team must just have been really, really tired. And I was talking about kickoff coverage because they scored so many touchdowns that they might be trained enough now to play on, to run for Josey's cross-country team. But I want to thank everybody for the season we had, and it was, great of Dr. Davis and Dr. Teague to go with the audible of doing the senior day inside. As you said, Steve, it was definitely something really, really different, but the day called for it. So thanks a lot for your support, and any questions, either Ted Lasso or about the men's soccer team. Thank you very much.
Frank's only in his 2nd year here. He never played on what used to be our game field, which is the field just below. It's the women's practice field now. He never played a game on that. You talk about holding some water. The current field drains great compared to that one. I mean, it used to be knee-deep on that field, and we had actual games. Football Bears put on an absolute offensive show Saturday night against our old rival North Alabama. I know Coach Brown enjoyed that. We put up 733 total yards of offense, scored 64 points, 64-29 win. We had 456 rushing yards. They ran a lot too, by the way. Maybe not the mileage, but we had 277 passing yards. We averaged 11.3 yards per offensive play. That's a first down and then some every time we ran the ball or touched the ball. We had 3 backs average more than 10 yards per carry. Darius Hale, 13.4 per carry. He had 19 for 255. Colin James averaged 18.8, 6 carries for 113 yards. Our backup quarterback, Clifton McDowell, averaged 10.2, 4 carries for 41 yards. That's just ridiculous. Redshirt freshman receiver Miles Butler caught 2 passes for 117 yards, 81-yard touchdown. That's 58.5 yards per reception. I could go on, believe me. I'm not going to. Defensively, defensive end David Walker had 5 total tackles. 4.5 of those were tackles for loss, minus 26 yards. That included 2 sacks. He also forced a fumble. Tamarian Wilson Sophomore safety had 9 tackles and an interception. Dominant performance on that side. Held them to 398 yards, I believe. Just a dominant win in general. Moved us to 3-0 in the ASUN, which is the most important part. Huge game looming this weekend at Eastern Kentucky, as I talked about. We'll let Nate tell us a little bit more about that trip. Colonels are 1-1 in the ASUN. They're 5-3 overall. They were 26th in the poll that came out this morning. If you went down to those receiving votes, they were the very next one. So a very, very good team. We played them 3 times in the last 2 years. We're 1-2 against them. We split during the pandemic year, and then they beat us last year. They're coming off a 28-23 road win at SEMO, and SEMO was ranked in the top 25 last week when they played them. So it's going to be quite a battle and quite a road trip to get there. Now let's hear from Coach Nathan Brown.
Thank you, Steve. Once again, just happy to cap off a homecoming week the way you're supposed to with a football win. And as many of the coaches said, especially our outdoor sports, wasn't the most ideal weekend for sports. But I thought just in general, everybody was very fluid with it and made it work. And so obviously Bruce Street wasn't quite what Bruce Street normally is on homecoming weekend. But man, it ended up being a great night, and appreciate the Louisville fans and students and everybody that came out and supported the game, considering circumstances. Luckily, we seemed like the heavy part of the rain hit during the soccer match, and then we actually during the first half didn't have much rain at all, until it got late in the first half, and then the second half was really just kind of a fine, not real hard rain, but. It more so affected the early part of the game just off a wet field, just slipping and sliding and trying to keep fresh balls in the game from as far as the referee's perspective. But proud of our guys. Again, we held serve like we're supposed to at this point in the year to still be on top of the ASUN Mountains, obviously important for our program. Our guys have responded to every challenge within the conference to this point, and have done it in dominant fashion. And so there's a lot to build on and a lot to be excited about. I mean, you could go stat after stat from Saturday's game, but it was just a complete team effort. I thought we played our best game 2 weeks ago at Kennesaw State as a team, and we topped that Saturday, and that was encouraging. And we know coming into that game that North Alabama had an explosive offense. I mean, they just scored 53 points, had 600 yards of offense against Eastern Kentucky, who we're about to play. So we knew defensively we were going to have a good night, and I thought those guys set the tone. I mean, in real time, real action. First team guys out there, they gave up 14 points. We gave up 160 yards, I think, in the fourth quarter. So, 398 or whatever it was, minus 160. When our first team guys are in there, they did a great job. And that's what set the tone of the game. And then, obviously, offensively, that speaks for itself. The numbers don't lie. But we were very efficient throughout the night. And then special teams continues to be a strength. We struggled a little bit in that area beginning of the year. We've worked hard at it. We've made some personnel changes, we've made some schematic changes, and it's resulting in game-changing plays. I mean, maybe the biggest play early in the game was Christian Richmond's touchdown, on the kickoff return. And that's a big deal. And kind of like Frank alluded to, I mean, when your kickoff team has to go out there 13 times, that's difficult. And those guys stayed on point, and they did a good job. We did some sky kicks to help them out a little bit. But I thought we were dominant in most aspects of the game. So what does that allow us? It allows us to play a big game next game, right? That's all that game did for us. I mean, bottom line is we're not finished with our regular season and what our goals are. It puts us in a position to play an important game this Saturday in Richmond, Kentucky, against a very, very good Eastern Kentucky football team. Just a little bit about Eastern Kentucky. Coach Wells, I know Dr. Teague mentioned it earlier in the year. He had a massive heart attack and missed a couple games. He's back coaching, doing a great job with those guys. Have a ton of respect for him. I mean, there was a point where it was just concern for his life. I mean, it's just fun to compete against a guy that is back and healthy, and his staff is excited. And you can tell that their players are feeding off of his energy, and he coaches a great football team. Offensively, very explosive. Parker McKinney is their starting quarterback. He'll be, to me, the most poised quarterback we've played all year, and that's including at Ole Miss. I think he is as talented as any guy we've played against. Very good passer, but not only that, he can extend plays with his feet, make runs. They use him in the run game as well. So he's going to be a guy we have to key in to stop. Defensively, they've got a beautiful looking defense. I mean, they're big, they're long, they're strong, they're fast. They've had some issues in some games, but had some inconsistent times. But you watch them play, and you can see how dominant they can be. Bottom line is this will be one of probably the greatest tests at this point as far as our ASUN play goes. They're to me talent-wise at the top of the league, and then obviously making the long road trip, is a factor as well. They've got 16 seniors or redshirt seniors, and they're 2 deep. I mean, that's why they're good. If you want to put that into perspective, we're going to have 6 seniors walk on senior day. I mean, there's a big difference, So we're kind of like soccer. We're young. I've never had less than 17 walk on senior day, and we're going to have 6 on senior day. So we're doing this with a lot of talent, but not much experience. We're about to play a team with a ton of experience, and also talent on top of that. So we're going to have to play a good football game. Our guys are excited about it. Like I said, again, it's our approach has been about the now, worrying about today, getting better today. Don't worry about what's ahead of us, and I think that's the most important thing. We've got a tough last 3 weeks. We're doing a good job right now. We've got a little momentum on our side. We're going to do our best to keep that momentum. But when you look at our final three-game stretch of the season, 2 of the 3 on the road, and I think we looked at it this morning, a combined record of 18-8 with the 3 teams we've got left. So I mean, very good football teams we're about to embark on to close the season. So whatever we get at the end of this season is going to be earned, and there's no doubt about it. And we're going to have to play really good football to earn it. So, but it's something we're excited about. It's going to be a great challenge, but one we're looking forward to. And I know our guys are ready to keep hitting it full force ahead. So that being said, I'd love to take any questions.
Injuries?
Yeah, injuries. Jay Spanesh was the young man that got carted off the field, freshman linebacker from Hoxie, Arkansas. A lot of that was precautionary. He's going to be in concussion protocol this week. He had some tingling in his extremities, was why it was taken to that point. By the time he was on the stretcher, he was smiling and laughing and wondering why he was on the stretcher. So he ended up actually coming back to the sideline by the 4th quarter. We took him to the emergency room. His parents met Ryan Webb, one of our team chaplains, went over there with him, and a couple of our trainers, and stayed with him. So got him back over. He's feeling good. Saw him last night with the team. He's in good spirits, and it's funny because he looked Dave in the eyes. Dave, this is the type of kid this kid is. He looked Dave in the eye about the time they were putting him on the flat board, and just looked up at Dave and said, "I'm going to kick concussion protocol's butt next week." So he's fired up, and he's been a guy that hadn't played a lot on defense. He's played some snaps on defense, but a big time special teams guy for us, especially as a freshman. Going to be a great player for us. Darius Hale came up limp late in the game with a hamstring. Hoping he was still pretty sore last night. See how he looks today. I mean, he's day to day. We'll see how he feels. He's one of the toughest kids I've ever been around. That kid hasn't missed. Matter of fact, going into the Jacksonville State game last year, we thought he had a torn meniscus. Probably did. He toughed it out and finished the season. Let it kind of heal on its own. He's one of those kids that doesn't like taking reps off. This will be probably the first week that he's been limited at all in his time of being here. It's pretty amazing how durable he's been. You hate to see that happen, especially late in the game.
600 yards in the past 3 games, by the way.
Yeah, 600 yards the past 3 games. That makes me feel good, Steve. I hope he's all right. No, Derek's a tough kid, but prayers for him, and look, he's the type of kid that says he's going to be fine. But obviously we'll make sure that it's in his best interest, and that we're taking the right steps for him moving forward. Jack Green was held out. Our starting center was held out again Saturday. Just another week to heal up his knee. He should be fully available this week. And Darren Davenport was back this week playing linebacker. So, we're sitting in good shape. I think this time of year, just like I tell everybody, everybody's got thick tape on and Band-Aids up, and it's about who's the toughest and a little bit about who's got the best depth this time of year in football. And that's the truth. And I talked to our team about that last night. I mean, you get to this point, you're playing for something in November, you got to strap it up hard and figure out a way to make it work. But hopefully those significant injuries will get better. And, at least that's our prayer. Yes, sir.
I want to compliment you.
I coached a lot of years, not on your level.
Yes, sir.
And a couple of years, I had Ron Calcagney and Mike Ison as assistant coaches. We called timeout. I'm in the middle of it. You're calling timeout, and you've got the players over here with coaches and players over there, and you're standing out there lollygagging.
Ron, you must be a micromanager. Well, there's one difference in Pee Wee football and college football. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I wear a headset. So we can talk on the headset, you know? Yeah, headsets, no, that's fun and jest. He actually was asking me about that before, but yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity for our coaches to get in there. And I coach our coaches as hard as I coach our players. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, but I want our players hearing it out of their coach's mouth. When the time's right, I'm in there definitely correcting when I need to. But yeah, usually I do my best thinking when I'm alone. A lot of times too. So you'll especially when the offense is out there. Usually I've got the play call sheet in discussion with Coach Collins, who's in the box. And so there's a lot of conversations being had. I can promise you that. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna let my coaches coach. They're doing a good job right now, and I'm gonna use a Nick Saban quote here. Nick Saban said one time, and this is more so when the defense is in the huddle and out there. Nick Saban said one time, he said they asked him kind of a similar question, and Nick Saban said, "Well, I can tell you this. I didn't get to this point in my career by being an expert on the offensive side of the ball. I'm an expert on defense." So that's kind of the way I take it on defense. I got guys over there I trust. I'm going to listen to what they're going to do, but I'm going to tell them what I think the offense is going to do. I'm not going to tell them what to do. And so we got a good group of coaches. That's a great question. Gene?
How do you react to excessive celebration penalties? Something like that just kills me. And it was a great game. There was nothing in doubt, but I often think that you can let loose then, and you let loose at the wrong time where it can come back to bite us.
100%.
And I saw you talking to the young man after that, but how do you react to something like that?
I think every situation is a little different. One, I think if you have a set way you handle that, can put you backed up in a corner. I can tell you this: I've got the pin last on Sunday night, if you know what I mean. So when we come in on Sunday night, not just him, but the whole offense gets punished. And so we're not any kind of personal foul, any kind of excessive. Just like at Kennesaw State, we had one where we got an interception and a couple guys. I don't think they meant to do anything, but they just depends on what the referee wants to call at that point. Well, we corrected that on Sunday night as well. So in the moment, there's a time and place. I'm gonna rip their tail in the moment, but the punishment happens after the game for sure. And I think a little bit in that moment, excitement. He gets opportunity to get in the game and play and make a good play. But yeah, that's a definite situation that can definitely put a damper on a good drive for sure. And one of my main conversations there is look at the score. There's no reason to celebrate. You know what I mean? Like games in hand. It's we've done it all night. Act like you've been there before, right? And that's the truth.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Everybody good? All right. Thank y'all.
I'm Ted. This is Coach Beard, and Coach Hill. I let Coach Beard do some coaching too. Frank had the three questions, and Frank said his name, not backwards, but he used his first letter of his last name. That's the dark side coming out in Frank. So he's got a dark side. That's what that is. And then the goldfish is the happiest animal on the planet. I mean, they don't remember anything after 10 seconds. So you got to forget your losses and move on. And then I think you asked about tea. And so I think, when I moved to England, I kind of thought tea was just some hot brown water that is going to taste like that, and it sure does. It sucks. Tea sucks. Was that right, Frank? What did he say? Oh. Well, so I'm the real Ted, and she can be quiet. I have the mic. But well, first of all, I want to say this, in all seriousness, we win Saturday at Eastern Kentucky, and we win the A-Sun. So no pressure, Nate. So that's a pretty good spot to be. Now then, the biggest question after that is, so the WAC will have a champion presented, the A-Sun will have a champion presented, but there's only one automatic qualification, and we share it with the WAC. So we have to determine who gets that, and it's based on, first of all, head-to-head, and we play Stephen F. Austin head-to-head, so there's a great opportunity. If Abilene Christian ends up being is presented as their champion, then it goes to a formula, a metric based on winning percentage and your opponent's winning percentage and the opponent's winning percentage. So we'll get to that at that point. All right, so at the end of the day, this Ted and that Beard won the overall contest today. I want to say that, so thank y'all.
Hold on.
What?
No.
What?
Well, I was thinking, what about everybody else gets the vote, you know?
Well, I'm telling you, we had the official judges, impartial judges today, and this Ted and that Beard won the best prize. Well, I'll tell you what it was. I'm about to tell you exactly what happened. You keep talking, bless your heart. She got the Bless Your Little Heart award, so you can stand up for that. And then Cheney, we'll talk after this. Take about 20 minutes to tell you about it, but it's a show on Apple TV. It's a college football coach in America gets hired to coach an English soccer team, fish out of water. Anyway, it's hilarious. It's won the Emmy the past 2 years. Emmy. All right, so best in character. So we had Best Dressed Award and Best in Character Award, and Ryan with Wendy's was honorable mention, best character, honorable mention, way to go. Second place was paparazzi and security, and here we are. There's security and there's paparazzi. Good job. Don't worry about that. I'm doing a lot of talking up here. Don't worry about that mustache. And then first place, of course, this Ted and that Beard in the character awards. But what they're booing about is the Best Dress Award. So the horrible tourists were honorable mention. Y'all stand up over there, horrible tourists. And then Dave Strickland's not here, but he was Cousin Eddie, and he actually should have won. But he did not. The winners in Best Dress, the second place award, really, the Best Character was number one award, but the Best Dress, first place, was Forrest Gump and Lieutenant Dan and Jenny. Is Jenny here? And Jenny. Yeah. They're pretty good. You can go on Twitter right now and vote if you want to, Erod.
Well, I do win a fan though, right?
You win the fan award, absolutely. Erod, is that okay? Can Erod win the fan award? Absolutely. All right. What else? What are we doing here? What, Beard? What do you think? All right, Beard says hit the road. He says, go Bears, go Sugar Bears, Bear claws up. Thank you, Beard.